Sign up today for a 7-day free trial at alerts.chartguys.com. Checking out the crypto space, congrats to the bulls. We have our break. So on the 12-hour time frame, the head and shoulders pattern's a bit more clear. I was watching it on the 4-hour time frame, but 12-hour time frame certainly much smoother, where we have our left shoulder, our resistance was 73.61. There's the head. We got up to 73.80, so the neckline was right near same level. There's our pullback, and there's our breakout. So the volume has certainly stood out today for these bulls, and it started with some weakness in the morning, and then a V-shaped recovery. That V-shaped recovery wasn't enough, as it brought us right to resistance. Initially, that move topped out at 73.65, which was right below all of these levels. Brief hourly bull flag, and then again, look at the volume on the follow-through. That's a lot of short levels being triggered for shorts covering, and some bulls going long. And the hourly time frame, there was our little mini bull flag, and there's the volume pouring in. So it looks like a temporary top is being set for now. We're going to look for an hourly higher low to form compared to 71.88. Still riding that half position from the other day, and did not set a stop level overnight last night, aside from keeping it a break-even stop under 65.26, but didn't set a stop level because I wanted to give the play more time to play out. And also, it definitely benefited that the position I'm currently in is a smaller position relative to my account. I entered that one of 3 orders at 65.55, exited half at 71.89, and then because it was only half of one of those 3 fills, so essentially 1/6 of the full position I was willing to take, that I was able to ride that a lot longer and a lot looser. It just didn't, a couple $100 move here or there wasn't enough to significantly swing my account. So I was perfectly fine letting this trade try and play out a little bit longer. So now that we have changed that momentum, we zoom out to the daily time frame, and here we are at daily resistance. So I personally consider anything under 86.37 as a daily lower high. That was our last little bounce attempt before we dropped down to a lower low. So we haven't changed any kind of trend. Yes, we have a lower wick on this daily candlestick, but I do not consider that a daily higher low and higher high. It was not a clear enough pivot point and a clear enough bounce, pull back, and then continuation move. It was clear on other time frames like the 12-hour, but not the daily just yet. And again, for perspective, we zoom out to the weekly chart, and we know that anything under 10,540 is just a weekly lower high. So there's your anti-FOMO right there. If you're a bull, you're looking at these levels and saying, yeah, it's a great move. We need a daily trend change. We need a weekly lower high to likely be set. Is this our monthly higher low being set? Way too soon to say. Daily trend change, step number 1. So top out wherever that ends up being. Let's say the bulls get some solid follow through. We make it all the way up to 6,000. We then have to pull back, hold the low of 65.26, and see continuation. Change that daily trend, and the odds of our monthly higher low being set will shift a bit more in favor. And of course, it will be the weekly trend change occurring that makes us really confident that that monthly higher low has been set. And if I were going to estimate what this would look like, bulls would ideally want to set a weekly lower high in the upper $8,000 range at the worst. Because again, if you're only going to set a weekly lower high at 8,000, that's a potential weekly bear flag. So we want some more follow through. We want that daily trend change. And then we need that weekly trend change if our monthly higher low is going to be set. So as far as bears go, what next resistance level are bears watching? There's a few on the way up. 8,000 psychological. If we were going to be extended heading up to 8,000, bears are going to be looking to top fish there. But at this point, just focusing on the bulls and seeing how long we can maintain a 4-hour uptrend from here. Where am I looking to sell? I'm going to let this play out. Again, it's a smaller position, so I'm going to at least let the 4-hour uptrend play out. And if we lose a 4-hour uptrend, I will exit. If we were to get extremely overextended again and head right up to 8,000 today, I would also look to exit. ETH, very similar. Again, we look on the 12-hour time frame, and most charts that we're about to look at are going to have the same pattern. Some are a bit stronger, some are a little bit weaker, but a bull break over all of the recent highs. And looking at the daily time frame now, resistance, anything under 186 is a lower high. It's a long ways away. Bulls still have a lot of work to do on the daily time frame. This is just a short-term relief that the short-term bottom is in. And anything above 140, 102 would be a 4-hour higher low. The ETH BTC chart tells me I'm still focusing on Bitcoin. I will focus on Ethereum as my horse, the horse that I choose to trade in the crypto space. consistently when we change this weekly trend, if we change this weekly trend, but we're not close to doing so right now. So still focusing on Bitcoin as long as that is the case. And you can see the bulls here, ETH, BTC bulls aren't doing much. Litecoin, same thing, 12-hour, inverse head and shoulders, although we have not broken 48.65 yet. That's still resistance, so that alone tells us that Litecoin is a little bit weaker than Bitcoin and Ethereum, who have cleared this resistance level already. So that's a little bit of a note to make note of. Resistance 60.04, anything under that is just a lower high. That's almost 25% away. So again, just looking for a lower high compared to where we came from. Anything on the 4-hour above 44.58 is a 4-hour higher low. LTC BTC is weak. I have no interest on LTC comparative to Bitcoin until we change the weekly trend, and we're much further away from doing so than the ETH BTC chart is. So Litecoin is at the bottom of my list of any interest in trading it. XRP. So what does the 12-hour look like? A little bit different setup. Resistance of 22.7 did break, but there's not a ton of follow through. We have 12-hour exponential resistance. If we go back and look at all these other names, we are getting over the 12-period, 12-hour exponential resistance, whereas XRP has not done that yet. So it is a bit weaker as well. Same resistance that's been in play for a few weeks is still currently resistance. If we can get over it, anything on the daily chart under 259 is just a daily lower high. Look at the volume today, and let's compare Bitcoin. Again, this is just one exchange, increasing bull volume compared to decreasing bull volume. Maybe that'll catch up by the time the day closes, but it's a notable difference. So I'm bearish XRP if you haven't been able to tell from the last few videos I've done. And while it's going to bounce with the rest of the sector, again, I just really don't like that it has dropped down to the lowest price we've seen in 2 years, and there's still those fundamental bulls out there. Just want to try and make it as clear as possible to people that it is the bearish technical setup out of all of the coins that we cover because of that fact. BNB, 12-hour, still has not broken resistance, has to break 1651 to try and follow along with everybody else. And then we have a daily resistance closer by, there it is at 1651. So just a little bit of a different shape to the setup, but I personally still consider anything under 2180 as a clear daily lower high. That's the most important level. So 1651, short-term resistance to be watching, and anything above 1458 is a 4-hour higher low. Link USD is standing out as weaker as well. We don't have a change in trend yet on the 12-hour time frame. The setup is there. Let's see if Link USD ends up being a laggard. Must hold play is 211. So that would be the support level that we have to play off of. Although the next level is only 8 cents lower, but 211, if that were to break, certainly a red flag. And the bulls have to break 240 to try and follow along with other names. If we get it, we look for the daily lower high, but weakest name right now is Link due to the fact that it has not changed the 12-hour trend or broken any of the resistance levels. Neo, also a bit weaker. We have not broken the second resistance level of 1018. We did break the first, but if we can't break 1018, it is a bit weaker. Daily time frame, just looking for a lower high compared to $12. MATIC BTC has been the runner, and it's still keeping the 4-hour uptrend intact. And this is the guide, because we just had a nice little tight setup where bulls could have made a quick little day trade flip, high, low, double top, higher, low, and that break of 319 and 323 ended up getting very solid follow through up to 345. So what was the little move there? That was a solid 6-7%. So even if you're only just scalping because it's overbought and you don't want to get trapped, even if you're just scalping 1 or 2% there, worthwhile on that resistance break. A name like this, when you look at the daily time frame, playing a resistance break on a name like this is much different than playing a resistance break on a name in a downtrend. So this has the hype and the euphoria and the momentum and the volume behind it. So it's a bit different in that regard. I would not be buying bull breaks for the sector as a whole, speaking in generalization, over the last month, whereas this is a different story. So the bulls have to hold 293 to keep the 4-hour uptrend intact. If I were looking bearish, I would definitely potentially consider a bearish entry on a loss of the 4-hour uptrend, because then we know there's a daily higher low that will have to form, and there could be solid pullback from there. All depends on how that uptrend breaks but it's something to keep an eye out on. MATIC USD, you can see the strength. Same thing, the 4-hour uptrend is the guide. The break of 2295 getting significant follow through, and anything on the 4-hour chart above 02027 is a 4-hour higher low. So a couple names to be watching for their strength, but also worth watching for when that strength and that momentum shifts a little bit, because we know it will eventually. Other than that, bears patiently waiting for the bulls to exhaust themselves on Bitcoin. And we're just going to be looking for an hourly higher low, and we lose the hourly uptrend. We'll just look for a 4-hour higher low. Again, my stop will be moved up from under 68.50 to wherever we set our new 4-hour higher low sometime probably tonight. So I appreciate you watching. Congrats to the bulls that got this move. But again, bigger picture, a lot of work to do, and we definitely want to keep a steady head and not succumb to FOMO if we were not planning on making an entry on this move. So thanks again. We'll check back in over the holidays. Happy holidays here. Thanksgiving in the US. If it's not a holiday, you can celebrate your own day like it is, wherever you're at. And we'll see you soon. Do good things. An hourly tightening range. APA. Whoa. What you want? APHA is a potential bear flag on the daily time frame. It's a weak bounce. If we break the lows of today on any names that look like bear flags, we are going to be looking to confirm those bear flags with lower lows. Bro, you're really messing with my flow.